What if I told you one of the best values in all of 2025 fantasy football is one that it seems like nobody really wants to take? The wide receiver 19 in both PPR and half in standard drafts is Marvin Harrison Jr., the son of Marvin Harrison, the great Indianapolis Colt receiver that set all the records in Indianapolis with, I don't know why I said Indianapolis twice, with Peyton Manning, the guy that was as smooth an operator as there was in the league. He now has a son that went to Ohio State, of all places, coached by Brian Hartline, of all coaches, made the Feldman's freak list as a freshman for what? Benching 380 pounds, squatting 500 pounds, having nearly an 11-foot broad jump, running up a top speed of 23.5 miles per hour, and nobody wants him at 6'4", 208 pounds. He was sought after as a high-end prospect. Didn't do a couple of the, prerequisites. Didn't do interviews. Didn't do running. Didn't do a bunch of this stuff during the pre-draft process because he didn't need to. There's a few players every year, I would say. There's a couple every year. There's definitely a few every decade that really just don't need to do everything. In his case, his dad was his agent. His dad just basically was like, listen, man, we know who you are. We know what you are. You came in as a freshman and you looked better than JSN and Garrett Wilson, all these guys that have been at Ohio State. He goes fourth overall in the 2024 NFL draft, 6'3", 190 pounds, what he was listed at. In his rookie season in Arizona last year, he, I guess, so quietly, because everybody acts like Marvin Harrison Jr. basically did nothing last year. 116 targets, okay, 62 receptions, 885 yards, 8 touchdowns. And if that's nothing, I will hate to see what peak Marvin Harrison Jr. looks like. Because if you just simply say, well, guys, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's not that, he's good. He's not elite. He's not great. He didn't have a good season last year. Only 116 targets, only 885 yards, only 8 touchdowns. It's probably the best you're ever going to get out of him. If you say that, you're an idiot. We know Marvin Harrison Jr. is only going to continue to get better. This offseason, what is the one thing that has went viral or whatever about Marvin Harrison Jr.? He added weight. He added muscle. Yes, is adding muscle the most important thing for wide receivers? No. But when you weighed in at the combine at 190 pounds, when you weighed at the combine at 209 pounds, which is 190 was his high school weight, 209 was his combine weight. That means you're now 220 pounds. You remember how big Julio Jones was, for example? Remember how heavy Andre Johnson was, for example? Did these guys have successful careers in the NFL at the wide receiver position? Julio Jones, NFL combine weight, 220 pounds, ran a 4.39. Andre Johnson, NFL combine, what was his weight? 230 pounds, 4.41. We don't have an exact 40-yard dash number for Marvin Harrison Jr., but adding that weight on should help with the physicality. I think another year in that system with Kyler is going to allow him to grow as a route runner and in his role. Last year's role was not that diverse. We're going to see that advance in 2025. Are you afraid of the big bad wolf that is Greg Dortch? I'm not. Yes, Trey McBride is there. But for every reason that we've continued to believe that, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin could coexist, or that, back in the day, a Thielen and a Diggs could coexist, or that if you go to, last year, Nico and Tank Dell could coexist, or Jamar Chase and T. Higgins could coexist, or JSN and Kupp can coexist. Why can't a Trey McBride and a Marvin Harrison Jr., when the backfield's, yes, it's James Conner. We like James Conner, but he's not going to dominate targets at his age. Trey Benson's a between tackles runner, a 3-down runner, not this Christian McCaffrey level pass catcher. After Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride, it's Greg Dortch. Yes, I like Michael Wilson. He is the quintessential receiver 2/3. He's in his role. That's not going to take away from the game plan that is Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. Trust that. Are you afraid that they brought in Zay Jones this offseason and gave him like $4.5 million? I'm not. They added Simi Fehoko from the Chargers, Tristan Jackson from the Vikings, UDFAs. Is that what you're afraid of? I think Xavier, Weaver from Colorado 2 years ago spent a year in the system last year. It's fun. But that's your receiver 6. It's Marvin's room. That's it. Plain and simple. It's Marvin's room. He's wide receiver 19 right now, going after Mike Evans, going after Devontae Adams, after Terry McLaurin. Now you get up to that Garrett Wilson conversation. I think that's a value for Garrett Wilson as well. Both of these guys, Wilson and Marv, we'll talk about Wilson another day, but Wilson and Marv should both be ahead of T. Higgins, ahead of Jackson Smith and Jigba, ahead of Tyreek Hill, ahead of Ladd McConkey. They should be in that Drake London, A.J. Brown, Brian Thomas conversation. That's where Marvin Harrison Jr. and Garrett Wilson should be. I don't need to sit here and sit on a soapbox, even though I just did for 6.5 minutes about Marvin Harrison Jr. I never thought I'd be this guy because a year ago, I told you that Malik Neighbors was the better prospect and was going to have the better rookie year. Both things are true. I still love Malik Neighbors more than Marvin Harrison Jr. But when a value is a value, we stay Bayesian, and I'm going to tell you when that value is, it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense. This is Roster Watch Nation. Get the Ultimate Draft cheat sheet today, and you will get value on Marvin Harrison Jr. in PPR, in Superflex, in half and standard. Everything over at RosterWatch.com. We've dropped offensive line rankings. We've dropped the busts and monsters tools. We have a brand new tool coming out this season for player props. You do not want to miss it over at RosterWatch.com. Become a pro or a premium member. We got new memberships going up every single day and new updates going up every single day for the Ultimate Draft cheat sheet. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Click that like button. Click subscribe. We're closing in, or we're right underneath 20,000 subscribers. So make sure you help us get there. Click that like button, click subscribe, and drop a comment. Let me know. Do you think Marvin Harrison Jr. is just too much of a value? Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.
This is Anthony Richardson, and you're listening to Roster Watch.
This is AJ Brown, and you're listening to Roster Watch.
This is Josh Allen, and you're listening to Roster Watch.